Welcome to this painting tutorial. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to this video. In this video I'm going to paint a Flamer of Tzeentch for a Chaos Daemons army for either Warhammer 40k or Age of Sigmar. This is a little bit more difficult color scheme because we're going to do some wet blending and some glazing. But overall I think it's very straightforward and you can do it if you try. I hope that I'm clear explaining the steps on this video and that it helps you paint your Flamers of Tzeentch. If you like this video, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, that really helps me out. I'm going to start by priming the model in white this time. I used Vallejo Surface Primer white through an airbrush. You can use any kind of white primer. This is because we're going to use some very bright colors in the bottom part of the Flamer. But we're going to start by laying out the colors of the transitions that I'm going to do on the body of the Flamer, and I'm going to start with Stegadon Scale Green. Make sure to go all the way down to the abdominal muscles that the model has, because this color is going to do the shadow for those parts. So it's important to get into the crevices on those areas, and it's going to go from there to the neck. And from that point down, I'm going to use Sotek green to start making a transition towards almost white on the bottom part of the Flamer. And this is just a little like half of the way down from the abdominal muscles to the bottom part of the Flamer. Next, with Temple Guard blue, I'm going to color in the rest of the bottom of the Flamer. It doesn't matter that we have those lines separating the colors. If you're not too confident as a painter, you can leave the transitions with those lines there. This is not a big problem when you look at them from a distance, but we're going to try to blend them in so that they don't look as obvious as they do. Next, with Nagaroth, I'm going to paint the rest of the areas of the Flamer, which is the hands and the head or heads. And that's pretty much it. That's all of the base coats. Make sure to always thin down all of your colors, of course. Like on all of my tutorials, I explain that you have to use thin down colors so they don't cover as much detail as they would if you would use them straight from the pot. Next, with Druchii Violet, I'm going to use this color to shade all of the purple parts on the model only. If you see, I painted the tentacles as well with the Nagaroth, and if you want to shade them and leave a little bit of the darker shade at the edges of those parts just to separate it from the blue, that's a good idea. Next, I'm going to wet blend, and for that I'm going to use Retarder Medium from Vallejo. This is a kind of a gel medium, and this really helps keep the paint wet for longer so that I can blend them together. And what I'm doing is mix them up with the original colors about 50-50, about 1-to-1 ratio, and laying them just in the edge of that transition that I want to make. Once they are laid down, I can wipe out the excess paint from the brush and start doing swirling motions in between both colors until the line that separates those two colors disappear. You can do circular motions, you can drag the color to one side and the other. What's important is that the brush is clean but not wet, clean and dry, so that it moves the color back and forwards so that they mix. Next, I'm going to use Glaze Medium, and this is a glazing technique that you can use instead on the top part as well. But I'm going to use it on certain parts on this model. It's basically you mix about 1-to-1 with Glaze Medium and the color, and then add enough water so that it's very thin. And then we lay very thin coats until the line disappears. Just make sure to let the previous layer dry and keep adding layers and try to make it blend. But this is takes a lot more time because we're adding a lot of layers. Next, with Sotek Green, I'm going to highlight all of the places that are painted with Stegadon Scale Green, and just trying to avoid all of the recesses to get the shadows. And I'm using thin paint so that when you approach the purple, you can get a smooth transition. You can use Glaze Medium to do that, and do glazing when you approach the edge that is purple, and that way the contrast doesn't look too different. Here I'm demonstrating again how to wet blend two colors together. I'm using Sotek green and I think it's Temple Guard blue on the bottom, and laying them next to each other, wiping the excess paint on the brush, and then start mixing the colors in the model together. In this video I don't show every single time that I use it, but every time that I want to get rid of a line like that is separating two colors, you can do that. Next, I'm going to mix white with Temple Guard blue, about 1:1, and a little bit of glaze medium. Here I'm glazing these two colors together and trying to get the upper parts on the bottom part of the flamer so that at the edge I can do a highlight. And I'm trying to get closer and closer to white the more I get to the bottom of the flamer to make it very bright. Here I'm using a second coat with a little bit more white, and I'm trying to get this color to very close to white so that the bottom part it's a very thin highlight of just white, an edge highlight of white. And you can make this look very well blended if you glaze it properly. Just use a lot of thin layers, and that's it. Next, with Xereus purple, I'm going to use this color to highlight all of the places that are purple, just leaving the deepest recesses on the shaded color. And this is going to need a couple coats. Just make sure to paint over all of these parts, just leaving a little bit of that color on the recesses. Make sure to also try to glaze it on the part that is going to join the deeper purple in the forearm. And yeah, that's it. Just pick up all of the raised parts. I know it's a little bit difficult with all of the detail on the many faces on the head of this flamer, but it's alright. Next, I'm going to use Slaanesh gray, and with this color I'm going to edge highlight all of the little details on the faces of this model. You can use a little bit of a drying retarder. I'm using liquid drying retarder to help me keep the paint wet for longer and work those edges a little faster. This way I don't have to load the brush as often, and I don't have to worry about the paint drying so fast on the tip. Of course you have to be cleaning up the brush every minute or two, just to make sure the paint doesn't dry on the tip, and you can keep working with your brush. But that's it. Next, I'm going to do the same thing to the green parts with Temple Guard blue. This is just an overall edge highlight to all of these places. Pick the brightest spots and the sharpest edges and just give them a highlight the same way that we did the purple. Next, I'm going to use model color white, and I'm going to give an edge highlight to the bottom edges of the flamer just to make them stand out a little bit more. This is just a regular edge highlight as well. Sorry that my fingers are on the way, but you get the idea. Once that's done, I'm going to use Screamer Pink, and with this color I'm going to try to paint all of the gums on the teeth that are around the model. In some places they're very hard to spot, and if you didn't do a very good job on thinning your paints, most of them are going to be like lost. They're very small, so don't worry about them. Just try to paint with this color all of the teeth, all of the upper parts of the teeth, so you don't miss them. And once that's done and dry, I'm going to use Zandri dust and paint the teeth. Be careful not to miss any teeth, and to leave a little bit of those the Screamer Pink in the gums so that they are showing too. These details are all around the model, so make sure to inspect the whole model to find some. I did find some other teeth that I didn't paint just finishing the paint job, so that's normal. Just make sure to don't miss any of them. Next, I'm going to use Agrax Earthshade, and I'm going to shade the gums and teeth around the model very quickly. Just make sure to shade them down a little bit to darken them down, and to make that little separation line between the white and the red or the pink of the gums. Once that's done, I'm going to start painting the flames with Ceramite white while the Agrax Earthshade is drying. And here I'm just trying to pick all of the flames and clean up those places where I painted where I didn't want to, and make sure they are completely white. I'm using Ceramite white instead of the Vallejo model color white because I know that Ceramite white has a stronger pigment and can cover easier. You can use the same color whenever you want, whenever you feel you want a strong white. Here I'm using Pink Horror to try to pick up all of the gums again and give them a highlight. And once that's done, I'm going to use Screaming Skull to paint the bottom part of the teeth to give them a little highlight and make them look a little sharper. Once that's done, I'm going to use Coelia Green Shade, and with this color I'm going to shade in all of the flames around the model. Try to apply it liberally, don't let it run to other places that you painted already, but make sure that it gets into all of the recesses, and if it's dark on the recesses, that's good. This is not a typical flame, this is more like a ghostly energy kind of flame. Typical fire has brighter highlights on the recesses instead of the most exposed parts, and typical fire is painted like backwards, highlighting the insides and using shadows on the most exposed parts. This is the other way around. Here I'm using Gauss Blaster Green, and with this color I'm going to pick up all of the parts that are not in the recesses of the flames, just leaving the recesses on the Coelia green shade, and trying to pick up all of the other places with this color. This color looks very good, I really like it a lot. I never used this color before and I think it's a very nice color. Once that's done, I'm going to use white again, model color white, and I'm going to start highlighting all of the parts on the tips of these flames just to make them glow a little bit more. And that's it. I forgot to mention that the eyes on the many faces of this flamer were painted with Gauss Blaster Green as well. And this is the finished model. I had a lot of fun painting this model. The only thing that can be intimidating or challenging on this model is to get all those blends and glazes. So I really recommend you to get the glaze medium and the drying retarder. The drying retarder is a more gel-like retarder, but not totally gel, it's still liquid. And if you get the one I got, it's a very good aid to help you get those blends. Of course, you can do it without the mediums that I used. You can do it all with water, but that means that you're going to have to work even faster, so the paint doesn't dry on you and you can move it around without it drying. So that's it. This is the way I painted my flamers, and I hope you enjoyed this video and that it helped you out figuring out a color scheme for your flamers as well. You can change the colors to whatever colors you like and make your own style of flamer. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up and comment on it if you have any questions. I hope this video was helpful to you, and I'll see you on the next video. You stayed. Great. Thank you very much for supporting my channel, and if you would like to become a patron, there is a link to my Patreon page in the description below. Your contributions help pay for my work and keeps the channel going. A single $1 a month is more than enough, and you can cancel at any time. If you can't, don't worry, you can support my channel by simply watching my videos and sharing them with your friends. Thank you for watching, have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.